Welcome to Her Remarkable History. Remember, to support our channel, please subscribe. The forgotten aunt of Anne Boleyn that raised 2 Tudor queens. Anne Boleyn went to her execution inside the walls of the Tower of London on the 19th of May 1536. She had been accused of adultery, incest and treason, and Thomas Cromwell had plotted her downfall. She was the second wife of Henry VIII, and she was a very controversial figure, as many people across England disliked her. She was seen as a husband-stealing witch by some who favoured Henry VIII's first wife, Catherine of Aragon. But within years of marrying the king, she was beheaded by a French swordsman. Henry VIII had fetched a swordsman to take his wife's head off, as he believed this was reliable. There is much about Anne Boleyn today that we don't know, as after her death, the king tried to erase her from history. It's believed that there are no contemporary portraits of her, but there must be one in England still today. She is buried inside the chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula, inside the Tower of London, but much of her life is a mystery. But one thing we do know is that she had an aunt who helped to raise her daughter following her death, and she helped Elizabeth I to become the greatest Tudor monarch of them all. But who is Alice Boleyn, the forgotten Boleyn woman? Very little is known about Alice Clear, or Alice Boleyn. She was the third daughter of Sir William Boleyn and his wife Margaret Ormond. Her mother was the co-heiress of the 7th Earl of Ormond's estate, and Alice was also a sister of Thomas Boleyn, the 1st Earl of Wiltshire. Her brother Thomas was the father of Anne Boleyn, but he himself was very influential. He was a member of Henry VIII's court and was present at Arthur Tudor's and Catherine of Aragon's marriage. He was part of the escort of Princess Margaret Tudor, who married the Scottish King James IV, and he was a Knight of the Bath. Thomas Boleyn later served as an ambassador to Henry VIII and was present at the Field of the Cloth of Gold, and was also seen as a reliable foreign envoy. He knew the French king and also the Holy Roman Emperor, and it shows us that the Boleyns as a family were well thought of in Tudor society. The Boleyn family mostly rose through the marriage of Anne Boleyn, Thomas's daughter, and Henry VIII. Before this, they were seen as wealthy members of the gentry, but their rise was huge. Alice Boleyn married Sir Robert Clear of a local Norfolk village. He was the heir of a man of the same name and his wife Elizabeth. They were not considered the most wealthy couple. However, when Anne Boleyn managed to become queen, she came to the royal court. She was seen as a reliable and trustworthy woman, and Alice, alongside her sister Anne Shelton, were asked to take charge of the household of the king's first daughter, Princess Mary, who would later become Mary I. She was seen as trustworthy, and Anne Boleyn ordered that Mary should be treated rather harshly. Princess Mary was banned from seeing her mother, as she would not accept Anne Boleyn as the queen, and she never saw her mother again as she died. She was banned from using the title princess, and was forced to adopt the title lady, and Mary did not conform to this. She greatly angered Queen Anne by doing this, and Anne was disgusted by her stepdaughter's insolence, and it's believed she may have asked Alice and Anne Shelton to use violence against her to bring her to conform. Mary continued to protest and even refused to eat dinner with the other members of the household, including Alice Boleyn, and this greatly angered the Queen more. Alice was also then appointed, as mentioned, a senior member of the household of Princess Elizabeth while she was living inside of Hatfield Palace. Princess Elizabeth later became the brilliant Queen Elizabeth I, and much of her great qualities were instilled when she was raised as a child. Anne Boleyn and her sister instilled great values into her, and Alice was deemed to be kinder of the 2 guardians alongside her sister. She was a woman who treated Princess Mary in particular with more kindness and respect, and Anne Shelton was harsher. Alice Boleyn was the quieter and kinder one of the 2, and she must have rarely administered cruel justice onto Princess Mary. With this, Alice Boleyn had an influence on 2 girls who later went on to become queens of England. The pair were different rulers, and they both had very different beliefs, being Protestant and Catholic, but Alice Boleyn was fair and honest with both of them. However, she died before she could see any of the 2 girls that she looked after become queens. On the 1st of November 1538 she died, after leaving a will a number of days earlier. This means that she must have been taken ill, and that she anticipated that she would die soon. She left behind 4 sons, Sir John Clear, Richard Clear, Sir Thomas Clear and Edward Clear. She had also throughout her time on earth witnessed the execution of her niece Anne and also the downfall of the Boleyn family. Her family were significantly affected by Anne's downfall, but little is known about how she was treated after this, and if she was removed from any positions by her niece's execution inside the Tower of London. Alice's sister, it's believed, may have acted as one of the women inside the Tower of London that accompanied Anne Boleyn to her death, and helped to pack her body into an oak chest before it was buried. But Alice Boleyn is the forgotten Boleyn woman who helped to raise 2 Tudor queens. She was a significant influence over Mary I and Elizabeth I, and should she have lived longer, then it's most probable she would have been rewarded with a senior position inside of their royal household. She is the forgotten member of the Boleyn family. Thank you for watching, and to support, please subscribe to Her Remarkable History. Thank you.